Hi, this is Everett. Welcome to Everett's Watercolors, and this is Simply Drawing with Everett in my studio. So today I'm going to do another quick drawing today. It's going to be on a wood grain. I'm going to take a piece of wood and I'm going to paint the grain in it, which I think is, I just love to do that. And but it's also to show you some extra techniques about getting the texture and the shapes and so forth. So let me take you over to my close-up camera. I've got a setup here. I want to show you. I've got the still life. Okay, there. I'm going to be drawing from that still life. It's at my still life setup. So I got an iPad pointing at that. So that shows you the block of wood I'm using, and then I'm going to go back to that a couple of times. That's what I'm going to be drawing. That and also the grain. You can see the grain in there, and it has. Let me move it around. So I'm going to capture some of the grain on there, and it won't be exactly what you see there on the screen, but I'm going to do something very similar to that. So let's go to my my close-up camera. Okay, now here's my drawing paper, 8.5 by 11 sheet of sketch paper, and I'm going to start with a 2B pencil. So I'm going to start out here drawing. I'm going to start the vertical line here with the edge. I'm going to do an outline here of what I see on the screen, and we'll flash back to that in a little while. But let me go ahead and get this set up here. So I get the front edge here, and then I've got the long. I'm going to set it at an angle, just like it is in the camera. And this will go back. And remember, in perspective, so going back, it's going to be a little bit narrower there on this section. And this goes vertical. And then this is going to be a little bit narrower going back. So we'll draw it in perspective. And then this line here will be the back edge. Okay. Okay, so let me take it to that still life again. So you see that's what I've drawn. I drew the outside edges of that particular shape. So I'll take you back to the close-up camera again. Okay, sorry. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start putting in some of the grain, and I'll start up here at the top. And I think I'll switch pen. It's just an outline. So what I'll do now is I'll take a 4B, see if that's dark enough, and I'm going to start putting in some of the grain that I see. And this won't be exactly what's on the block of wood, but I'm using a little bit of artistic license here. This will come down, and I'll get another edge. So this grain goes along the total length of the block of wood and gives a different dimension every time it goes back. Now the one in here I'm going to start with, this has got a curve to it. It gets more curvular as I get closer to the center of my block. So then this becomes an elliptical shape here. I'm going to come down to the edge. This is what happens to the wood when it forms the edge to when it forms the shape of where the knot's going to be. And I definitely want to get a knot in here. Okay, so we'll do one more. We'll do one more elliptical shape. Going inside, gets a little bit smaller. Come around. Another elliptical shape. And then we'll do one more. Another elliptical shape. And then we'll finally get the knot in the center. The center's in the center of that area. Okay? All right. So that gets me the basis. Now, the sections in here, the parts that overlap, there'll be a ring here at the edge of the block, which will come down. This might be off to the side of the block, and this one here will be another ring. So if you looked inside of a tree trunk when it's been cut down, you'll see the rings, and these are the rings we see. We see the rings on the surface of the cut. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and start shading a little bit of this. So I'm going to take the 6B. Now this is a 6B pencil, a little bit darker. So now I'm going to spread these just a little bit more. I'll give a little more depth to these rings. The rings are very, very distinct. So, and they're a little bit fuzzier. They're not exactly small. Make it a little bit wider. And at the end, they're usually a little bit sharper. This one along the side will be a little bit flatter. Okay. All right, now what I'll do is start shading this in a little bit. Let's say I'm going to have the light coming in from this direction. So this side is going to be in shadow. So I'll put a little bit of shading over here on this end. This will show the shadow edge. And that's not, I don't have the lighting exactly like this in my setup. So I'm just using this as an approximation of how I would like to see it. And now I'll darken these edges a little bit more. These rings will be darker than the shadow. Okay, and the light's going to hit the top section, so the side section will be not as dark, but it's going to still have a little less light on it. So I'm going to put this about a medium value. And that would define the edges of the block by the values. And I'll darken these up a little bit also. Okay, now I'll take my blending stump, and what this does. This merges the pencil lines, pencil sketching together. Smooths out the shading. And over here, same thing. A little bit of shading over here. Okay, now light's coming from this way, so we're going to put a little bit of shadow pattern along the edge here, just a little bit. So light's coming from this direction. We'll put a little bit of shadow on the surface here. Again, I didn't have the lighting set up this way, but you can play around with the light if you wanted. If you had an object like this, you could set up a light around and get the idea of the shadow pattern. That would be inherent of the object itself. But with the light coming this way, you're going to have a shadow on the surface opposite to the direction of light. And I can smooth out those marks with the blender stump. And I think what happens here is right underneath the edge is going to be super dark, because that's where the edge of the surface and the edge of the block meet. This will be a sharp shadow, a sharper edge at the bottom. Okay. Well, there's a good close up there of the what I call the wood grain on a block of wood, and I think that turned out real well. And it's very, it didn't follow the actual design of the block itself, but you don't have to. Okay, just get the idea. So we'll go back to the overhead again. We'll go back to that still life, So there's the block that I used, and that's the drawing that I did from the block. Okay. And I made up my pattern for the grain and so forth because I wanted a knot to be here in the second in the center portion of the wood. Okay. So let's go back to my close-up camera, or my main camera. Okay. Well, that was a quick drawing today of wooded grain on a block of wood. The wood grain on a block of wood. And I think that's kind of a very interesting project to have. If you find some wood with a little bit of grain to it, or find a tree that's been cut down a little bit, and you want to draw the grain of the marks inside the trunk. It's always a good lesson to have, and a good way to show it. Now I showed you a 2x4 here, which has been cut, but you can still see the grain in the wood itself. So that's a very interesting project to have, and I think you should try that. So you can join me anytime and put it on Facebook, on Everett's Watercolors Art Group on Facebook, if you want to share your results. I'd love to see your input. So until next week, I'll be back with another drawing on Simply Drawing with Everett on next Thursday. And also I put out Everett's Watercolors does a watercolor demonstration on Thursday. And on the weekends I do anyone can draw with one line only. Now, if you're subscribed to this channel, then you'll be notified of all my videos coming on YouTube. So, until then, you all stay safe. Give me a thumbs up and a like. I appreciate that. So, until next time, next video, take care.